Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, passion for excellence.
Here are today's top headlines. Automotive earnings come in from Japan and Europe. The Ford Mustang heads to NASCAR, and a look at GM's new B-Class car from Brazil. Up next, we'll be back with the news behind the headlines. This is Autoline Daily for Wednesday, July 29th, 2009, and now the news. A number of earnings reports came in from Japan and Europe this morning. Honda posted a net profit surprise for its first fiscal quarter this year. It only made $79 million, but any automaker that can turn a profit these days is way ahead of everyone else. Honda's revenue fell over 30%. Nissan posted a net loss of only $170 million, which is not a very big loss despite a 35% drop in revenue. Daimler posted a net loss of €1 billion, about $1.4 billion, with a 25% drop in revenue. And PSA, the parent company of Peugeot and Citroën, had a net loss of nearly €1 billion for the first half, with revenue dropping nearly 22%. All in all, not a very good quarter for the industry, but maybe not as bad as many had feared. Hey, in a sign of what the future of NASCAR may hold in store, the Ford Mustang is heading to the Nationwide Series, which is the stepping stone category up to NASCAR's Sprint Cup Series. According to Autoblog, the Mustang will debut next year, and once templates are finalized, production of parts will start so teams can start building and testing the car later this year. In other racing news, BMW announced it's pulling out of Formula One at the end of this year. They've had a terrible season. BMW says it wants to commit resources to developing new drive technologies and projects in the field of sustainability. The company said it will continue to participate in other motorsport series, but clearly Formula One, which lost Honda last year, is a series that faces a tough future. Ahead of its official unveiling, GM released a few sketches of its new B-segment car. According to Autoblog, the Chevrolet Agile was developed entirely in Brazil and is set to begin production shortly in Argentina. It's speculated that this is the small car the company will build at its Lake Orion, Michigan plant for sale in the U.S. market. With a wheelbase of just 98 inches, the Agile is almost identical in size to the Honda Fit and Ford Fiesta. In other GM product news, and it still is GM, some high-res photos of the new Saab 9.5 have turned up on the internet. Autoblog is running these pictures, which show that the car has a smooth new design, but it keeps the classic look the brand is known for. It's a similar story inside, too. The interior is unmistakably Saab, with crosshatch air vents and some other unusual details. Now we're going to have to wait and see if Koenigsegg's takeover of Saab actually goes through, and maybe we'll see this car come to production. Coming up next, it's time for You Said It.
Changing tires out here could be dangerous, but with these tires, I don't need to worry.
Bridgestone.
And now it's time for some of your feedback. This is You Said It. Every day we get dozens of comments and questions from you, our viewers. You Said It gives me a chance to respond. G.A. Brannigan saw our report on the so-called German provision, where European luxury car makers will be allowed to exceed CO2 emission levels in the American market. And he says, the German provision, that's nice. What other concessions to foreign automakers will our lawmakers do? How about some provisions our way, like easing off the outrageous diesel restrictions? GA, that is a great point. Easing off diesel emission standards to make diesels more affordable makes all the sense in the world, since diesels emit 25% less CO2. And Paul Stewart saw our interviews with the designers and marketing guy for the new Ford Taurus and wrote in to say, I didn't hear you mention that the SHO takes premium gas, or asked the panelists about the weight issue, over 4,000 pounds for a Taurus. Paul, since I was interviewing designers and marketing people, I didn't get into the technical aspects of the car. But as far as the type of gasoline for the SHO, Ford says it needs a minimum of 87 octane so it can run on most regular gas, though Ford recommends premium. As far as the weight goes, 4,000 pounds for a Taurus makes it a porky car. That's about 400 pounds heavier than a Toyota Avalon or Nissan Maxima. And Pedro Fernandez asks, considering the stricter MPG standards coming soon, do you think cars will start getting smaller again, or will the trend towards larger next-generation models continue like it has for the past 2 decades? Pedro, there's no doubt that fuel economy standards will force the industry to build a lot more small cars. But you know, in the American market, most car buyers prefer larger vehicles. And whichever automaker can figure out how to deliver high fuel economy in a big car at an affordable price is going to move a lot of metal. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow night for Autoline After Hours. Our live webcast starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. Our special guest will be analyst and commentator Jim Hall, who really wants to get into the topic of what General Motors is going to have to do, not just to survive, but what it's going to have to do to claw its way back to the top again. That is going to be a good discussion. And that is it for today's top news in the global automotive industry. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Visit our website for even more great content all week long. Autoline Extra, Dawn's Journal, podcasts, and even more. So click over and get the inside view at AutolineDetroit.tv.